right, here we go. So, welcome everyone to Give to Get. This is the Life Mastery with Stefan Neff. Just gonna share the screen a little bit first, just to give me a little intro of who I am and what I'm all about. So here we go. It's just a little recording. I'm just gonna talk through it. Awesome. Well, welcome to Life Mastery with Stefan Neff. Life Mastery. I'm so looking forward to this. Who is Stefan Neff? Well, Stefan was born and raised in Langley, British Columbia. I have two children. One is Stephen and one is Brandon. I got a beautiful wife named Tomoko. So who is Stefan? Well, Stefan had alcohol and drug addictions for 35 years until he found a solution that worked. It's called Smart Recovery, Self-Management and Recovery Training, based on science using CBT and REBT, tools that work. So today's topic is how to clean up our non-supportive stories and words. Awesome. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen here. All right. So I have this question I was been asking myself. Where do our beliefs come, where do they come from? Where do they stem from? Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration. So you can see I have a little bit of a platform here. So I got a little bit of a cup here. So this cup represents ourselves. As a child, it's all empty, nothing in there, no stories, nothing as we were born, or as I was born. Then all of a sudden, I started to learn. And what did I learn? I learned great stuff, but some of the things I did learn was some of these irrational beliefs, some of these stories that individuals and what I was telling myself were the words. So this rice represents my beliefs, some of my stories, some of my non-supportive stories. So as we're growing up, or as I was growing up, I was told, for example, shh, be quiet. You don't know what you're talking about. So I'm going to add into here some of those stories and more stories as I was growing up. And I went to school and I had this, I would say I wet the bed. I'm going to be honest with you all. So when I went to school, individuals called me P-boy. So there was more beliefs that went in there. And I was telling myself I wasn't very good. It was a challenging childhood. I'm not saying it was bad or anything else, but it was challenging at times. Then as I grow up, and then I was caught smoking and selling cigarettes. And then the teacher says, "Man, you shouldn't have done that. You're a bad boy." My dad just gave me a spanking. Oh, so many limiting beliefs. I was so bad. Then as a teenager, I started growing up, and then I was rebelling a little bit. And my dad would, at the age of 14, he said, "Did you do that?" And then there was an oil stain on the concrete. He says, "You just wrecked. You're such a loser almost. I don't know the word for word, but you're such a bad boy." And I said, "I didn't do that." So he grabbed me by the scruff. I had long hair back then. You can notice I don't have hair now, so he grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and he says, "You never talk back to me." And I knew I never did it. So I had this belief, means more beliefs, that, you know what, even if I did something or if I didn't do something, I was wrong. So all these thoughts, he said, go pack your bags. You respect me no matter what. Otherwise, get out of my house at the age of 14. And then all of a sudden, as I got older, I started to tell myself, I'm not very good. And all these beliefs and stories I was telling myself, all of a sudden they just started to build and build and build. And I was married, I had a relationship, and I have my older sons from a different relationship. And my girlfriend at the time says, "I don't want to be with you anymore." But she was pregnant. So I felt to myself, man, is there something wrong with me? Is there something seriously wrong with me? The stories I was telling myself. Then she didn't want to be with me. So I didn't get to see my son until he was age of 3 years old. I cried a lot, very intense moments. So there was tons of beliefs going on. I was telling myself, I started to drink heavily, started to do drugs, marijuana, cocaine, you name it. I had this massive addiction. All of a sudden, this cup started filling up. Then I met somebody, my current wife. And I really wanted to connect with somebody. But I had all these stories and all these, I would say, non-supportive stories that I was telling myself. Yes, I did get married to her. The first little while, it was fantastic. Then all of a sudden, I was demanding love from her. I was demanding that she would care for now that I have my son. Actually, I really connected with my son. I started to become his basically number one parent. Then this demand came on. I thought to myself, this person must look after my son. And so we got divorced. 2 years later. This mindset that I was thinking that I was demanding things from individuals and I was demanding from myself. So all these stories I was telling myself, it kept on going and going. Then we got divorced and separated for 5 years until we reconnected and we got remarried again. So at that time, I had all these beliefs in me. Then one night, my wife, it was New Year's Eve, and she ended up passing away. And I brought her back to life. And it was such an emotional turmoil for me. And I was very connected with this individual. And she was paralyzed from basically the neck down. She couldn't talk and speak. And so I cared for her. And she said to me, this was after she recovered. She says, "You know what? I love you no matter what. I forgive you no matter what." And this thought, I didn't understand why it was, but why she was saying this to me. And I started crying. And from that day forward, I started to work on myself. So now with having all these stories in here in my mind, I'm going to add some water and I want to demonstrate this. Now rice in Japan, they actually, I'm going to demonstrate it. You can see how cloudy the rice is. So this is all those stories I was telling myself, all these, I would say, irrational beliefs I was telling myself. And I'm going to put a marker on it. I call it IR, irrational beliefs. And you can see that on the other side. All these irrational beliefs. And see how cloudy they are? It was so toxic. I was a toxic individual. Now the question is, how do we clean up our irrational beliefs? Do we just say, you know what, they'll go away on its own? Well, for me, they were in there. They were in my subconscious mind. So what I learned was I started to clean, and this is before we cook rice, we start to clean it so we can actually taste really tasty rice. So I found an understanding that if I work on myself and do self-development and self-compassion towards myself and pour that into my system on a continuous basis. And don't worry, there's a bucket below me. So if it goes in there, I just start to fill it up and I start to clean. And I went to events, read self-help books. I started to clean my insides.
On a scale of 1 to 5, would you give yourself a 5 on achieving what you want in life? If your answer is anything less than a 5, right now, I have something awesome for you. Achieving your goals and living your life at a 5 isn't easy. Most people aren't prepared to focus, stay disciplined, and do the everyday work that is necessary to achieve amazing results. But since you're watching this, then I'm guessing that you're not one of those people. And this is an opportunity that will change your life. Give to Get is a global program that brings together world-class coaching and combines it with empowering masterminds and networking opportunities. We provide 5-star guidance for the price of a cup of coffee a day. To find out more, click on the link in the description of this coaching session.
Now, I thought, okay, I've done self-development. I'm good to go. I have no issues. Well, that wasn't true. There was irrational beliefs in me that I just didn't even notice it. So I had to do some more work. So I had to do self-love, unconditional self-acceptance. I did a passion test facilitation course to really understand what passion's all about for myself. So I did that. And that was absolutely phenomenal. So I started to work on myself again. And all of a sudden, these irrational beliefs, you can see the water started to disappear on its own. It started to change, slowly change. And you can see how the rice is still quite intense, still quite cloudy. How much water do you think that is? And then there's this Japanese study was done, and you can go look it up, was the scientists did this test about water and toxicity when you send negative energy towards it. On the other side, if you send positive energy, and they froze it and they dissected it and they put it under a microscope. And they noticed if one had said, for example, Hitler, the word Hitler on it. On the other side, it said love. And they tested, one was erratic, means the individual means Hitler. The word Hitler was put on it. On the other one was more love and passion. It was so erratic on this one. This one was so crystalline, beautiful crystals. Now, with that being said, our body is filled with water. It's inside of us. So if we're doing toxicity and we're sending ourselves some non-supportive stories, self-downing words, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, what happens? For me, I started to numb my pains with addictions. So I was still, at that time, still drinking. So I stopped drinking. Then I started to learn what smart recovery is all about. You can see there's smart recovery tools, and it's called an ABC tools, and um, talking about irrational beliefs and what's rational, REBT, rationally motor behavior therapy. You can see it starting to clear up. It's starting to really be nice and clean. Then, as we go through it, I started to train individuals. I want to mix this up a little bit. I started to train individuals. Then you can see it's still quite cloudy. Wow, it's still quite cloudy. Then I started to understand when I was training individuals on the smart recovery tools, I started to have these thoughts. Am I really releasing my irrational beliefs? Am I using the tools most effective way to help me work on myself? And you can see I've done 3 bottles already to clean this little tiny bit of rice, half a cup of rice, because there's a lot of limiting beliefs in there. And I got another bucket of water here too as well. And I'm going to share, not quite yet, but I'm going to share a tool that I did yesterday and prepare for that. And this is called the ABC tool, the activating event, the A. The B is the belief. C is the consequence, means emotional feeling. D is start to dispute that irrational belief. And then E is effectively changing to a new rational way of thinking and a new way of feeling. So this is based on Albert Ellis's rational emotive behavior therapy. And I'm going to add some more water. I want to get this really clean, and we'll see if we can get this clean as we can get it. Let's put a whole bunch of water in there and clean it up. Now I'm 52 years old, and I thought to myself, am I ever going to release all my irrational beliefs? Well, that was a bucket of water. So there's still some left. For me, I'm still working on them because they still pop up in my mind on a continuous basis. So when I start to do that, I start to put on here, for example, I'm going to put self-love, self-love, self-love. Whatever that means to you, self-love, self-compassion, self-acceptance, acceptance of others, acceptance of life, is to work on this on a continuous basis. For me, I will continue to work on myself for the rest of my life because I truly believe that I am the most important person. I'm the one that can love myself. I'm the one can give me passion. I can exude passion by helping others too as well, by giving back. What do you think that's the reason why I do these webinars and facilitation for smart recovery and forgive to get is I truly believe by giving, I can create this inner self-love towards myself by utilizing the tools that I've been learning to share with others. And that'll also help me with my compassion, my empathy, and really empower others to live the life that they truly desire and truly deserve. I believe that we deserve to have happiness and joy in our lives. But first comes with working on self, means releasing some of these grains of irrational belief in ourselves. So I wanted to share this, and I wanted to get this. I'm going to dump some of this out here. And by the way, I will be making rice after this. My wife asked me, she goes, you're not going to waste that rice? I said, no, I'm going to make rice after this. And that's what I'm going to do tonight. Okay. I'm going to clean up a little bit, everyone, because I need to get to my computer. All right, I'm going to put this down. So that's my demonstration of releasing irrational beliefs. And there's much more to it. For example, you can dive into your own personal, self-development, having a coach. You can have you can read, of course, self-help books, working on our irrational beliefs on a continuous basis. And also too is you can go and Smart Recovery has lots of videos on all the tools they have. You can go and take a look at those. And I'm glad I have this because I'm going to erase these irrational beliefs because we can clean them up. I would love to share this here. I'm gonna share my screen here. This is what I did yesterday, and I actually shared this with my group. So this is the ABC problem solving worksheet. So the A stands for activating event. What is the activating event? What happened? What did you do? What did others do? What idea occurred to me? Well, I went for a dog walk with my wife yesterday morning, and I heard a dog yelping. And I witnessed a man kicking his dog because the dog was barking and was resisting to walk forward. And my wife started crying because of the situation. And then I go to the C. It's very traumatic because I said we have a beautiful 16-month-old puppy, beautiful little boy. And so I went to the C. How did I feel? Was I angry? Yes, I was very angry at the man. I was actually very sad for the dog, very frustrated about people who hurt their animals. I was sad that my wife was crying. I was very anxious about the situation. And honestly, I wanted to go and confront the individual. I wanted to say something to him. But then I thought about it, you know what? I'm going to do an ABC on my own feelings about this because that person can't control my happiness. I'm the one that's in control of my own personal happiness. If I get frustrated or angry at an individual, then I start to make myself disturbed. Do you see the point where I'm trying to get to? I make myself disturbed about the events that happen outside of me. Then I started to go to the B. What beliefs did I have? What beliefs did I have? Well, my belief was the man should not hurt a dog, his dog. Another belief was that the man must love his pet unconditionally. My belief is the man is an awful person for hitting his dog. The man should not own a dog. And there was much more beliefs going on at that very short period of time that was a matter of, let's say, 30 seconds before we walked on. All these beliefs were just coming through my head. Do I want to hold on to these beliefs about somebody else that may hurt myself because of those beliefs? Well, then you go to the D, start to dispute this. So I started to dispute these irrational beliefs that I was thinking about the situation. Is it true that people should do what I believe is right or wrong? Should they do what I believe is right or wrong? I would really prefer that man not kick his dog, and I really would love it. Is it up to me to say to that person or people, they must love their dog unconditionally? Is it up to me to say, love your dog unconditionally? I would really like if people would love their dogs unconditionally. Oh, was that person awful? I was thinking to myself, is that really, because we met these individuals and they were very jovial before. We've met them on this trail before and they were very loving. Dogs were playing, our dogs were playing together. And this was about, I must say, a month and a half ago. Some people are bad and they may do bad things, but doesn't mean that they are awful people. And this is what I've been writing down. It is up to me. Is it up to me to demand that awful people should not own dogs? Where is it written? This is funny. I wrote this down. Where is it written that I am the dog owner police? It's like the siren on my head. Shouldn't have dogs because you're a mean and awful person. You're such an awful person. Okay. Then I went to an effective new belief and emotional consequence. Well, with the situation that happened yesterday, I will continue to love my puppy Luffy unconditionally. The demand that I put on others, on the outer world, only frustrates me. I will identify those demands and continue working on unconditional other acceptance and doing my ABCs to help me see irrational beliefs that pop up into my life that cause upset feelings. I will share my feelings with people with an I statement to avoid conflict between myself and others. So this is what I did yesterday, and I shared it with the group, and they were super grateful that I was able to share that kind of information about my own life. Because if I am using these tools in my life to help myself, and if I share it, I can help others. So working on ourselves is something that I really love to do now. I really it's finding a partner, as I said, finding a coach, finding an individual, finding an organization that you can really dive into your um, non-supportive stories and working on them. Even doing these meetings for me, I had this story that, can I share this? Do I have the ability to share that? And I had to do an irrational belief. Yes, I can, because I have a mission. I want to help individuals help themselves create much more joy in their own lives. If I don't share this, and if I refuse to share it because of my irrational belief, I am robbing others of this gift that I have within me. So share your wisdom, share your joy, create the life that you truly desire and truly deserve. Everybody have a fantastic day. Thank you, everyone.